Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back with another transfer talk roundup special. Before we get into it, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're very, very close to getting to 6,000 subscribers, so you guys can help us get there by liking, subscribing, absolutely, totally free, and get your comments and your thoughts on the players linked into Aston Villa or potentially leaving Aston Villa. We've got loads to get through on this show. We've got potential hijacking of other clubs' bids. We've got other strikers linked. We've got midfielders linked. We've got top young players linked. And we've got to talk about it. I know I've banned it on this podcast, but we've got to talk about a potential returning hero. And can you see it happening? But stay to the end for that one. Now, Adrien Truffert of Rennes we're looking like we're trying to hijack Bournemouth's bid. I think it's around about 20 million euros for the left back. And do we need more left backs? That's the question. Luca Dean has been in the press, being interviewed, quite calm about his future, saying he's got 1 year left on his contract. And Aston Villa haven't really opened up too much conversations with him, but he's kind of fairly open about it, fairly calm about it. Doesn't, I think, indicate that Aston Villa have too many financial problems, but we'll have to wait and see with regards to the PSR or the squad cost rulings and, whether he's willing to, I guess, take a little bit of a pay cut for a longer contract. Who knows? I doubt that will be the case, but we'll see with Luca Dean. But Truffert, 150 appearances since 2020 for Rennes in the league, 7 goals, has 1 full cap for France, having represented them from under 18 level upwards, and has played 33 times this season, started 31, scored 2 goals, and has assisted in 2 goals and created 5 big chances. We did talk about him a couple of episodes ago. 85% in terms of passing accuracy, 86% in his own half, 74% in the opposition half, and 4.2 ball recoveries per game, 1.6 clearances. And I guess he is attracting interest. Bournemouth, as I say, put in a potential 20 million euro bid. Aston Villa looking to maybe hijack that one and, stop him on the way down to the south coast and drag him back up to Birmingham to sign on the dotted line. But we'll have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts, because I guess it's right backs that people are saying that we really need. And do you think it's left back is the position that we should be looking to strengthen? But I'll let you guys let me know in the comments. Now, another defender that we potentially been looking at is Jan Bissek, the German under-21 international. I think he may have had a full cap as well. Currently at Inter Milan, 43 times he's appeared since 2023 in the league, scoring 5 goals. And as I say, has represented Germany from under-17s right up and now has 1 full cap. Has been at various clubs as well, FC Cologne, and then numerous loans, but seemed to have turned into, a real sort of regular this season or semi-regular with Inter Milan. And is 6'5", 24 years of age, centre-back. And I guess he's looking for a move potentially into the Premier League. And Aston Villa have been named as a club that are very interested in him. Now, let's take a look at his stats. As I said, 6'5", and can play right back, can play centre back. So in that position that Unai Emery likes to see players, and that potentially players that can play right back but can play centre back. We've seen him use this many times, particularly away from home. Right-footed centre-back Konsa obviously has played there, hasn't been fully comfortable there. Lamar Bogard has played there, again, been okay, but more suited to that defensive midfield position. And we've seen Axel Disasi play there, and to varying levels of success. Yes, he did okay against Brentford, but we saw against PSG away from home and Man City away from home, unfortunately, it didn't quite work out for him. So with regards to Bissek, has 27 appearances, 17 starts, 3 goals. So not too bad in terms of his prowess at scoring goals. 1 big chance missed, 1 with the head, 1 with the left foot, 1 with the right foot. So that's interesting. 2 assists, 2 big chances created, 92% in terms of accurate passes, 96% in his own half and 86% in the opposition half. So not too bad at all there. Been part of 3 clean sheets, 2.4 ball recoveries, 2.3 clearances per game as well. 1 error that's led to a goal, 60% in terms of total duels won, and 74% in terms of aerial duels won. Now, I don't think that is any surprise to anyone, being 6'5" off corners can be a real danger, I'd imagine, on attacking set pieces, but also a real asset on defensive set pieces. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is this a player who realistically Aston Villa could be looking at? Is this a player that you want us to look at signing? Is he highly rated? Are we going to face a lot of competition for his signature if he is available? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, another player that we've been linked to, and this again links to this defensive midfield position. And while there is, I guess, doubt on Boubacar Kamara signing his new contract, potential interest from Saudi Pro League in Boubacar Kamara as well. Al Hilal, apparently, he is on their shopping list. We talked last week about Amadou Onana being on the Saudi Pro League club's shopping list as well. So this leads to us potentially looking at signing, I guess, highly rated defensive midfielders or central midfielders. And Valentin Atagana is the latest one to be linked to Aston Villa, again at Stade Reims. And if we have a look at his kind of his record at the minute, they played at Reims, 56 appearances, 1 goal in the league since 2023, graduated from their second team, appearing 22 times since 2021, has represented France from under 17s level right up to under 21 level, hasn't got a full cap yet, but very, very highly rated. If we look at his SofaScore stats, we'll just bring them up now. 19 years of age. So look, a real highly rated player, has got first team experience, fits into that mold of players that Monchi likes to look at, Emery likes to look at in terms of turning them into real polished articles. Morgan Rogers being the biggest example. 34 appearances in the league, 33 starts, 1 goal, 1 big chance missed. 1 goal from inside the box, scored with his right foot, hasn't made any assists, but created 1 big chance. Looking at his passing accuracy, 88%, 93% in his own half, 79% in the opposition half. And look at the interceptions, 1.1 per game, 3.4 ball recoveries per game, 2 in terms of tackles per game, 1.8 clearances. So obviously works extremely hard in that midfield, 55% total duels won. 53% in terms of ground duels, 58% in terms of aerial duels. Doesn't lose possession too often either. So, look, could be a really big player for the future. Now, I'm not saying that this player comes in to replace Boubacar Kamara, but we've talked about it before. If you've got Onana and you've got Tielemans, he's talking about Ross Barkley and thinking this could be a big season for Ross Barkley next season if he can stay fit. Then you sprinkle in 1 or 2 other players. If you were to lose Kamara for big money, we'd make big profit. Would you be able to bring someone like that in to work with the squad and be brought up with the squad? And you talk about Europa League games. Sometimes we might have a less high-profile game than the Champions League, in which case you can bring these players through and give them that little bit more experience. Now, that is the same case for young English midfielder who's playing for Stoke City at the moment, Sol Sidibe. And he's been linked with Aston Villa as well. And we're looking at about a £10 million move for the player who has 12 appearances in the Championship for Stoke and has represented England from under 17s and under 18s level. And he's extremely highly rated. And again, it fits the bill. First team experience, albeit in the Championship. Could you get this player highly rated across the country? Maybe looking at getting into the under 20 squad or the under 21 squad. Could you bring him in, send him out on loan somewhere, and then gather that experience for him to then challenge for the first team next season? We've seen it with so many young players that we signed from across the country, but this one may be just that little bit further up in terms of his development because he's played first team football. So that's one to watch as well. But really highly rated midfielder. It's good to see us linked with these young players, not only from England, but across the world. Now, we've also seen striker linked, and I think we talked about him before, but it's Samu Aghehowa of Porto, and he is currently on Aston Villa's radar as well. 2024 signed for Porto, has appeared 30 times in the league and scored 19 goals. Played for Alaves on loan from 2023 to 2024, scoring 8 times in 34 games, and now has 2 caps for Spain. So has really hit his stride this last season, and I guess potentially looking for a move. 6'4", only 21 years of age. Is he the next player for Aston Villa to sign? And I think I read somewhere it's around about 100 million euros. So we're going to have to do a hell of a lot of maneuvering to potentially bring someone in of this ilk. Now, that would probably err on the side of getting rid of someone like Ollie Watkins to generate the cash for someone like Samu Aghehowa. Plays striker. He's got his weakness as ball control, which doesn't bode well, but comes alive in the box. Look at the heat map. The center spot or the box. 30 appearances, 23 starts, 19 goals. So certainly knows where the goal is. And 18 big chances missed. So could have had even more. 2.7 shots per game as well. So that's what we're looking at. Someone who is always alive in the box. 12 with his right foot, the goals. 4 with the left foot, 3 with his head. I'd expect more with his head, to be honest with you. But maybe in the Portuguese league, maybe it's more played on the floor, lower crosses, etc., etc. But that's something that he'd probably want to work on. 3 assists, 5 big chances created, 79% accurate passes, 86% in his own half, 74% in the opposition half. Still works a bit for the team, 1.7 ball recoveries. Not a huge amount in terms of duels won, but 51% in terms of aerial duels won. So not too bad in terms of that. And look, gives possession of 7.5. So maybe you want a little bit more hold-up play, a little bit more strength involved. But he could be a real highly rated player. Now, for me, I don't know if I'll be looking at spending that money. I'd be looking at En-Nesyri for me. A little bit more experience, probably more likely to play in the same side or be in the same squad as Ollie Watkins and kind of be used as a foil for Watkins, or to be used off the bench, or different games to Ollie Watkins, maybe in Europe, and then Watkins plays in the Premier League. Maybe someone like Aghehowa, for the price tag, would want to be playing first team football, and that would be in direct competition to Watkins. And as I say, financially, it might be more that we've got to get rid of players before bringing someone of that ilk in. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would he be a real addition to the squad? Is that the clinical striker that we need? Now, finally, and I have banned the conversation about this player, but it's been in the press too much this week, and we have to talk about it, and that is the return of Jack Grealish. Can you see it happening? It's been talked about that he's not in the squad for Manchester City's World Club Cup. Guardiola defended his record with Grealish just as the season end, said he really rates him, he really likes him, he wants to see him do better in pre-season and come through. But I think everyone knows that he's been told that he needs to look for a new club and his future lies elsewhere from Manchester City. Now, everyone would say, the obvious choice is to go back to Aston Villa, where his boyhood club and all that kind of chat. But it would be a difficult deal to do. But the wages that he's on leads to believe that any destination that he goes to would be difficult for any club to afford. Is he going to be able to go to the likes of a Liverpool, a Barcelona, a Real Madrid? Well, no, he's not, because he hasn't played enough and he's not at that level anymore. So you're going to have to look at clubs like Aston Villa. I mean, Everton have even been talked about as well. No disrespect to Everton. So it would have to be probably some sort of loan deal that is Manchester City player pay a percentage of his wages. So could Aston Villa do something on that scale? I don't think it's done early in the window, but I think if it rumbles on, and I think if we don't maybe sign Marco Asensio, and we think a deal could be done with Jack Grealish, then could we see the return of him in that number 10 spot, in a bit of more of a free role? Can you see him linking up with Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, maybe someone like Jacob Ramsey? Although, would Jacob Ramsey moving on, Newcastle interested in Ramsey, would that pave the way for someone like a Jack Grealish to come in? So that's the conundrum with Jack. Is it also a case of, look, don't think back to what you always had? Is it going to be the same, him returning? We're a different club now. Could he return back to that, give the ball to Jack and just let him do stuff and let him see what happens? Or are those legs just that next, 4 or 5 years too old? Has all of that natural flair and natural style been coached out of him with Pep Guardiola? Would he link well to Unai Emery's system? Would he be able to compete? Would he be able to last the demands that Unai Emery places on players? Would he be disciplined enough to do the work off the ball that is required? I think those are all the questions, but no doubt it would be a phenomenal return. He would get real favour from the fans. But how long does that last? How long does that honeymoon period continue? And would we be able to see it consistently for a whole season? Would he be able to stay fit for a whole season is another matter. And you're investing a lot of money, a lot of wages, even at a percentage to sign him. So for me, I still think we're a different club, and I think we've moved on from maybe Grealish. That being said, I would support him again if I saw him in an Aston Villa shirt, and I'd be really pleased if we could get him playing to the glory and to the ability that he did when he left. And if he could bring us a Europa League or something like that, I think that would be a phenomenal moment for us. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on Jack. Let me know your thoughts on all of the players that we've covered. Are we going to hijack Bournemouth deal for Truffert? Are we in for Samu Aghehowa of Porto? Can you see him coming in up front? Jan Bissek, is he the answer at the back in terms of that right centre-back position? And then central midfield, could you see a player coming in? Sol Sidibe, highly rated young player. Valentin Atangana, same again, highly rated young players. Are these the future if we are to let go of, say, someone like Abubakar Kamara, who is attracting interest, particularly from the Saudi Pro League? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, I had loads of players to go through, so thanks for bearing with me if it was a little bit of a longer show. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us continue on the road to 6,000 subscribers. We'll be back with more transfer talk, rumour shows, and potentially 1 or 2 live shows to come as well. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa.